So apparently you guys are interested in my text about relationship advice because the last video worked really well. I'm going to link it down below. So I'm doing part 2 today, and I'm continuing to explore all the typical cliche or, memorable sentences you hear about relationship everywhere as I'm working towards improving mine and trying to, figure out what I really believe about it and what I really believe makes a good relationship, how to have great friendships and other types of connections. And yeah, as always, if I get this wrong, if I'm absolutely doomed, if I'm absolutely over realistic and you think, Chloe, that's not how it works in real life, please tell me in the comments. I really need to know. So challenge me. Or if you think actually, yes, that's exactly what you need to do. This is how you can, enter connections, hopefully, and being able to create great things, let me know as well so that I can assess whether I'm in the right direction or not. So one of the one I wanted to address today is one thing that I hear quite often from Tony Robbins actually, which is to replace your expectations with appreciation. And this one, I've been actually playing with it for a few years now, and I believe it's partially true. I believe if you come from a place of gratitude, if you come from a place that you're like, oh, you know what, I don't know how long I'm going to be in that person's life, and I appreciate them, and you just make people feel good about themselves, or like feel that you appreciate the time you spend with them, or appreciate them for who they are. I feel in general you will show up in relationships in a more open way. Like you can meet people who are different and just just deal with whatever is going on. And I feel you are less judgmental, which is really felt. I feel a lot of people are being judged all the time by plenty of people in their life, and if you can be a person who is different and brings a different attitude towards it, I think it really changed things. So I feel operating from appreciation, yes. Then the replacing your expectations, I absolutely agree with expectations as well that are creating the main problems we have with people, is because some expectations are unrealistic, or they are coming from our own needs that we are projecting to somebody else, and we are hoping that they are going to fulfill what we need. Usually it's like quite perfectionist as well, or there is like some unhealthy patterns in your own behaviors that you are projecting on the person. And I feel like often, like also expectations are not really told out loud or communicated, or sometimes you don't even realize that you have expectations, and then the person starts disappointing you for whatever reason, and you're like, oh, actually this was there. And I feel having expectations, particularly when they are unrealistic or really coming from only your side, is very, yeah, I think it's very detrimental for good relationships. But I also disagree with the fact that you should not have any expectations and just being grateful for whatever you get. I feel, for me, what has worked is also to have standards, like having having a lot of appreciation, a lot of gratefulness for the people, and gratitude for the people who are in my life, but also say, hey, you know what? I deserve to have good people there. So I can appreciate you, but if you are somebody who is, just giving me breadcrumbs and it's not a real relationship, or if you don't respect my boundaries, or, if there are certain things that some people do, that I can say, okay, I can appreciate who you are as a person. I can see where you are in life, but I don't want you to have more access to me. It's also fine. I feel it doesn't mean that you are not appreciating them, but you are just saying, okay, this is where you fit in my life. This is how much you can participate to it. And I feel this is the healthy balance for me. So it's not replacing expectations with appreciation. It's appreciation while keeping some good standards that are also allowing you to bring the right people in your life. And then it's even easier to have appreciation and to build great connection. So for me, this one is like, yeah, it's partially true, but it needs a bit of nuances on. You don't need to just become a doormat with accepting everything and everyone and every behaviors that is actually hurtful for you, or things like this. The second one is that communication solves everything. Again, partially agree, but I would say it's not the full picture. For me, like, frankly, a lot of us don't learn to communicate in healthy ways. Growing up, I can tell you, for instance, I was not around people who are role modeling healthy relationships. I had to learn assertiveness. I had to learn how to communicate needs. I had to learn how to express boundaries. I had to learn how to handle conflict in a way that actually created solutions, rather than, there is conflict and it doesn't get solved, or, it's like, it's like it builds on top of each other, like, oh, it's not even addressed because, you know what, nobody cares. And I feel this is this communication that you would learn if you were exposed to it as part of just as you are growing up, but also if you are in great relationships already. That's where I think you will be tested even the most. Like, you might already be somebody who communicates well, but if you're in a real connection where you truly care about the people, that's where things get even, like, there is higher stakes. So it's even even more challenging you in terms of how you're communicating and how healthy that can be. And I think for me, that's not just that, because I've also been in situations with friends, for instance, where I have communicated, where things have been told, they've been discussed even calmly. So you're like, okay, that, there has been communication technically, and yet nothing changes, or the boundaries are still disrespected, or there is no like actions or behavior that is changed as the result of the conversation. And then you are like, okay, did you actually care? Did you actually care about the relationship? I mean, not just me, but the relationship itself. Are there going to be any progress or any, is it going to happen again in the future in exactly the same way? Because for me, in that case, I usually get a little bit less interested in the relationship, because for me, it's important to, to take accountability and to be willing to do some work on yourself, whether it's changing communication, changing behavior. But I feel that for me, there needs to be a willingness that comes with the communication. So it's like you communicate, yes, but as a result of this communication, there is something that is happening in real life. There is a behavior, there is an action, there is something that changes the way things are being done. And if I cannot perceive that willingness or that accountability, then that means that we are not compatible people in terms of value or in terms of how we respect each other in a relationship. So for me, this is, yes, communication is really important and can solve a lot, particularly if you've not learned that when you were young as me. You have to learn on the go, and you are going to make mistakes, and it's just fine. But there also needs to be accountability in the behaviors behind. So it's not just talk people, it's also doing stuff. And the third one that I got is that the right people for you will love you exactly as you are, and you will not have to change or something like this. Like, they will just like, you're just going to meet them and everything is perfect, and it's perfect for the rest of the future. As I was saying, I think appreciation is really important. So if you meet somebody who can love you exactly for who you are right now, and really appreciate you as a person and all your quirks and all your, the things that make you you and accept you like this, definitely you feel better. I feel people who have done this to me, they made me feel respected. They made me feel really safe. My nervous system was well. I feel like I can be myself around them without being judged all the time, or any of my behaviors constantly being watched. I feel this creates a strong sense of psychological safety. But I also feel that if I was around somebody who just does that and is like, oh yeah, I'm okay with who you are right now, and never, wish me to grow, wish me to evolve, support my goals, and kind of can appreciate who I am, but still want to help me, grow in my journey and in life in general, I think I will start being bored, and I will probably not not want to continue that, because for me it's important to also have a kind of growth that can happen on your own, but also with people around you. And I feel that would be a missing piece if there was just love for who I am right now, and no need for evolution. The only like opposite to that is if that person wanted me to change for their benefits. Like if I was feeling that I had to become a different person because it fits them better, or they feel that I'm inferior to them and they really want me to grow to get to their level. I feel if there was this type of behaviors, I would not like it either. I would be like, let me go find somebody else who can like me as I am. Or if I felt that I had to change for the person just to save the relationship, or that me changing significantly compared to who I am as a person and compared to who I am today would be what is mandatory to make the relationship work, I think that would not be good enough for me to want to do that. So I feel it's a mix. I think it's nice to have people who are really appreciating for who you are right now, but also having people who can who can grow with you. And sometimes, I'm sure that there are people, like sometimes there might be a difference. Like you might grow faster than they are growing, and then you feel that like that they are behind, or maybe you are the person who, they have a massive growth and they are achieving goals, and their journey is advancing, and you feel that you are the one behind. I think there is always a bit of like fear as well at this level, so that it might make you feel that you are not appreciated for who you are in the present, and that you have to catch up with them. But I feel at the end of the day, I would rather be in a situation where I know I'm appreciated, and I can change if I want to. I can change at my own pace, rather than doing this for the relationship or for that person. So I feel it's a bit of a mixed one. I think it's good to be loved for who you are, but keep the growth possible as well. And another one that I read that's I'm not fully sure about this one either, is that you have to love yourself before somebody else can love you. I've heard this one quite a lot as a kind of this is the baseline. First thing you have to do is love yourself before anything else. I feel I think it's not fully true in all situations, because I've heard it as well. For instance, when you are healing from trauma, or there is, some recovery you have to do for whatever situation. I feel there is a lot of work you can do on yourself. I think sometimes it's good to be on your own so that you can really listen to your own voice, and you can put the pieces together and build your own confidence and build your own self-worth. I think it's really helpful to do all this type of work to ground yourself, to understand what you need, to build a sense of self-worth that is not dependent from the rest of the world or from one specific person. I feel it really helps you feel more secure in general. But I feel, as I was saying, the same with recovery, at some point you need to go back in the real world. And that's when you are going to be challenged. That's when you are going to see whether or not you really healed, or you really learn something, or you really change how you love yourself. This is going to be proven to you only when you are out there in the world and you have a mirror in front of you that is like, hey, actually, when other people are involved, that is shifting again. So I feel it's like partially you can do the work, but then you have to go out there and get it tested, and it might not be enough anyway. But also sometimes the love, like the fact that you love yourself, can also come from other people who are not people who are just like voluntarily kind of making you feel good about yourself, but just people who actually are very secure. They can care about you really well, and just have a specific way to do it that makes you really feel this is just natural and authentic, and that's how love is supposed to feel. That type of encounter, that type of relationship is also really important for me and for other people to build this type of understanding about what it means actually to be loved. And I feel, particularly if you've not experienced it early in life, which was my case, for instance, I don't think that anybody in my family understands, like secure, healthy relationships. This is not a reality, and I think it's the case for a lot of people who are not really, aware of it, or they have not had to do some education about what they think about relationships and things like this. But I've had, for instance, people in my life who have been very loving, like a platonic relationship, like, even like a manager at work who was very supportive, or other people I met here and there where I could really feel that they were bringing some love in my life. And this is like different way to experience it, but you're like, oh, that's how it feels. And then, it helps you also think, oh, that's actually how I should also treat myself. And then you can do this to yourself as well. So I think having to love yourself before anyone else can, I think it's both sides. Sometimes you can get the proper relationship and it's going to change your life and it's going to help you develop a different relationship with yourself. Sometimes you can do the work on your own inside, but then at some point, you need to go back to the world, and it will get challenged, or it will be challenged or nurtured if you meet the right people. So I feel it's not something that you can only do on your own. I think it's you can start either way, and sometimes you have to do the work in parallel at the same time. So all of it. And then the last one I've heard, and this one I would say it's yes, so probably no for me directly, is that relationships have to be 50-50. Like, like it always needs to be balanced between people. And I'm always careful when I hear a black and white number like this, because I don't think that humanity can do black and white numbers anyway. I think for me, it's more about the balance that you can find over time, not just at any point. It doesn't have to be 50-50, but also, what is the compromise you are making? Just to give you an example, I'm currently sharing a flat with different people, and we don't always get 100% of what we want. If I was living on my own, I would do things differently. If I'm sharing a space, I have to think about the other people, and that means I have to decide what I compromise on, and I have to decide if it works for me. Because if it doesn't work for me, then I should go and move somewhere else. But it's the same thing, I think, with relationship. Like, sometimes maybe I will need more support. I will need, more time or patience from the person I'm around to just be able to process things. And I might need their support for an extended period of time to get myself out of something. And sometimes I will have to give that to the other person, and it's perfectly fine. And I think that's okay as long as there is a balance, or it's a temporary situation, or, it's not conflicting with too many of my core values that will make me feel actually the compromise I'm doing right now is way too much, and this is not working anymore. And sometimes you have to realize that this is expected. Sometimes, like, I had people who have been very selfish friends in my life, who have been really sucking the life out of me. I will call it like this. And it took me some time to realize that actually the relationship was really unbalanced, and that it was more giving to them than actually, getting something back. Like, of course, we were in each other's lives, so there was some connection, but it was not a connection that was actually making me feel that the balance was there, or that it was a supportive place, supportive connection. So I feel it's like it's a lot of like knowing yourself, knowing your values, knowing your limits, and when things are going to really be unmanageable for you, and what you really want to stick to as a standard level. And then, in the context of a relationship, just see how things are going, and whether they're working or not anymore. I feel it's probably one of the hardest things to do, but if you come from the expectation that it's always going to be balanced and it's always going to be 50-50, I think you are setting yourself up for the wrong for the wrong situation there. So for me, it's more like a nuance, and still knowing when it's too far away from 50-50 and it's for too long, and it's for the wrong reason, then to be able to say no to that, and just step out, or have the communication and expect some good action in return, right? So yeah, these were the ones I wanted to cover today. So yeah, replace your expectations with appreciation. I think I would add appreciation and still keeping high standards. Communication solves everything, only if it's focused. If there is action afterwards that is focused on creating what you wanted for the communication. The right people will love you exactly as you are, and you won't need to change. Hopefully you still change because you want to, and hopefully they can appreciate you at where you are now and where you are growing, and the next stage of you and the next level. You have to love yourself before anyone else can. It can work either way. You can get the right people, or you can get right yourself and get the right people, and it will all build on top of each other. And relationships are 50-50 if you are not a human being, maybe, but not in real life. So yeah, just want like to see if you're okay with that, if you agree with me. Let me know if I got something right or something wrong, or if I'm too delusional or whatever else you can think. Please drop it in the comment down below, and that will help me in my own education about relationships. So I would really appreciate that. And then if you don't know me, my name is Chloe, and I'm running daily YouTube videos as a challenge that I gave myself now 95 days ago, and I'm doing it. So I'm continuing to build, to build my base life, and to also help myself figure out how to do that. And I'm sharing things that I'm sure some of you are related with, or something that can also inspire you or get you to question the way you are leading your own life. So hopefully that's helpful. And if you want to follow this journey, you can subscribe to the channel down below, and I will be back tomorrow for another video.